pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
The sweet and smoky salmon rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Rattlers and Rattlerettes, Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway. We are the O&G StrikeZone here on the Black College Sports Network, and we appreciate you joining us this evening. Got a loaded show for you tonight, jam-packed show. It's good to be here with you. Kelvin, Kofi, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Doing awesome, well. My brother.
I see you got your Rattler blue on.
Wait a minute, say that again.
I see you got your Rattler blue on.
Well, yeah, normally you would see my what I'm representing today. You know, I know we're doing a little bit something different here with the kind of the
snipers got
graphics,
me,
but
can you hear me?
Huh? Yeah, I heard you. What's going on? I can hear you. I heard you.
We just lost him. He just got sniped.
We just lost.
But
we just lost him.
But
already 10 seconds into the show. Gotta love this, man. Gotta love this. Hey, no, really, I'm my high school where I coach at. We won our state semifinal game earlier this morning in Lakeland, so thank you. So we advanced to the 2A state championship game Saturday morning. Orlando Christian Prep going up against Sagemont High School or Sagemont Academy. I'm not really sure which one, but it's just known as Sagemont. So that'll be the 2A. I think I saw that Florida High ended up winning their game in the 3A, which was, I think, a couple of hours after ours. So they defeated Trinity Catholic in Ocala. So Florida High is going to the state championship in 3A. We beat Florida High, by the way, but a good ball club.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, you know, doing the thing. Charlie Ward leading that squad. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, look, we got a lot to go over today. A lot of big news coming out of FAMU. sorry, I got a little thrown off there for a second. I want to remind you, for you guys watching us, hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at O&G StrikeZone. And if you are downloading us via the Jericho Broadcast Networks app, we appreciate you watching via that stream. Download MyJBN, MyBCSN on the Google or Apple Play Store. And of course, send us an email. Normally, I've got the email up there somewhere. O&G StrikeZone at gmail.com is where you can send us your thoughts throughout the show. And you can send us an email and let us know. So already in the YouTube feed, shout out to Tamara T. Appreciate it. Good evening. And anybody else out there, go ahead and hit that like button. Feel free to jump in the chat room. We got plenty to talk about. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we're hoping that we set up an interview with Mr. John Cohen, the owner of NY Racing. And for many of you Rattlers, you have seen today on social media that his number 44 car, which is driven by Greg Biffle, who's a veteran on the NASCAR circuit, that same car was decaled with the Grambling logo at the Daytona 500. I think that was last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm not really sure. But that car was decaled out with the Grambling gear. Of course, John Cohen is a Grambling alum. So the program and the HBCU is very near and dear to his heart. We'll talk a little bit about if the interview comes through for us. We'll get a chance to talk about his time. He actually played for Coach Eddie Robinson at Grambling, but he's also one of the handful of owners, minority black owners in NASCAR. He, along with Brad Daugherty, Michael Jordan, and I think there's somebody else who is a black-owned. I think there was 4. Maybe there's 3. I'm not really sure. Maybe there's some other guys that are partnered in with Michael Jordan. Not really sure. Okay. So there we go. Right off the bat, as we get going here early in, because I know Mr. Cohen's got some other obligation with NASCAR today. We want to welcome on to the O&G StrikeZone Mr. John Cohen of NY Racing. Mr. Cohen, thank you for joining us this evening. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thanks for the invite.
Definitely. Thank you. Of course, Mr. Cohen's also a marketing partner of Urban Edge Network, Inc. and the HBCU League Pass. And so obviously Rattler Nation is buzzing because we got a first glimpse of the decal car that's going to be driving in the Pennzoil 400 this weekend in Las Vegas. And so we are excited to be able to continue to carry that torch for your cars. Tell us a little bit about how the design, before we get into maybe talking about your background a little bit, how the design scheme and the decision to go with FAMU for this upcoming race came about.
Well, I want to continue off of the Daytona 500, going into my next race with another HBCU. And Florida A&M always had a big tradition with bands, football, baseball, and I wanted to highlight them in the biggest stage of NASCAR. So I just wanted to keep it going, and from here we'll keep other HBCUs. But my next, and then once I saw the design that my guy Brendan Droppo did, especially with the things hanging off the front, I was like, this is next. So I'm just excited for this weekend. My whole team's excited to be there to represent FAMU and the HBCU all throughout NASCAR.
Yeah, definitely. I've had a chance to catch some of your other interviews and some learning some fascinating background information on you. Why don't we start by just letting people know how you got involved in racing? Because you formerly were a player at Grambling State. You graduated from Grambling State, played with Eddie Robinson. How did you make the transition from that into racing and becoming a NASCAR owner?
Well, it was a long transition. Once I left Grambling, I started a truck company. I started a motors company, invested in nightclubs, and et cetera. So racing was not on my agenda when I left Grambling. It didn't. I was heavily into motorcycles and drag racing. Like I had a drag race car that I had a driver for, and from there, I kind of fell into the whole circle track scene with one of the guys from New Jersey who was racing in the late model series of NASCAR, which is like the high school side of NASCAR is like the lowest series. And then I was like, I know enough people, I can get sponsors, so I can do this which is at the time was the nationwide series, which is the second highest series, so I would consider that college football. And from there, 4 years later, I worked my way up the cup, which I consider pro football, and which series I'm in now. So it was a long transition, just like anything else, it's a business. So once I get my foot in one business, I created the next one, and it all kind of merged together once I got into racing.
Mm-hmm. Kelvin, go ahead.
Well, the car is getting a lot of buzz. It's a beautiful car, and I kind of want you to talk about the whole process of how did you get the driver that you have, and it's been how do you qualify? I know you had a qualifying race last week and so forth. Just kind of talk us through the S's and O's of racing at this level and in your journey.
So I came into sport 2009. I ran limited series throughout it's based on sponsorship. So most of the teams you see is 36 charter teams, which is they have a franchise tag. I don't presently have that franchise tag, so some races I have to qualify in, such as the Daytona 500. But the driver I picked is a veteran. I'm trying to mold younger African-American drivers, especially ones that's coming up now, like Rajah Cruz. He actually goes to HBCU, Winston-Salem. And LeVar Scott. So I wanted a veteran driver who can, help mold my team into the next level, and at the same time bring up the younger drivers to have them have their a legitimate spot to win in this sport.
Kofi.
Hey man, that car is, I have to keep saying, it's just absolutely fire, man. And
I appreciate it.
Rattler Nation is buzzing about it. So what I want to know is there any chance that the car is going to make a tour on homecomings this fall? And yeah, so is there any chance it's gonna make a tour at homecoming? Like I could literally see that car in the homecoming parade. It would like be so hype. It'd be so deep, bro. Like we'd be buzzing just about it, man. So what's up?
No, I mean I get it. So to be clear, these cars, with COVID happening, we have limited supply of parts building these cars. So we're all falling behind just building the next. We got to have 7 cars in the shop. I'm only working on 2, and the bigger teams are working on 3 or 4. So it depends on how many wrecks we have. These cars are not cheap to build. So I mean, I can wrap one that looked like it from last year, but I don't think it'd be one of these cars. Just being honest. I could probably send a die cast down there. You can put that in the.
We wouldn't know the difference. We'd be like, "That's the car. That's the car."
So.
Yeah, hey, so what does it take to win, though?
What it takes to win?
Yes, sir.
Money.
Because it's more, because I'm not necessarily one that watches a whole bunch of racing, but what you're doing is bringing a lot of additional African Americans into watching it because we want to see, bloom. But, it's got to be more than just pressing the accelerator. You got to be able to maneuver and do something to be able to finish first.
So most people think it's the driver. It is the driver, but 2, it's the smartest people you'll find in racing, the engineers and the crew chiefs and mechanics. These cars, it's different from Formula One. So Formula One, all these cars are based on computers. Now we have a big engineering staff that builds the parts and set up the car. But if you don't have smart guys on your roster, the car's not gonna go fast. I don't care how big the motor is, because most people are like, well, what does the engine look like? Is the engine powerful enough? But when you're on a circle track, for example, just imagine you run around the track, right? And you run around the track, and you start off on the backstretch, and you run really fast, and then by the time you hit the turn, if your car doesn't turn right, it starts to slide. So as fast as you go straight, when you hit the turn, if your car slows up, the other car that may turn better catch you. So most people think is the engine is a combination of everything. It's not just one thing that makes these cars go fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Thank you,
downforce,
Kofi.
it's side force, it's so much stuff.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, okay, I'm sorry about that.
Well, no, I was going to say Kofi's question brings up one of the things that I heard you talking in other interviews about really wanting to get into the inner city and reach kids like yourself who was growing up. You had an interest in cars and really getting young people interested. But even with a lot of fans, I'm sure there's a lot of NASCAR or just racing 101, a lot of education that goes on. So how are you bridging that gap in terms of educating this HBCU fan base to get them engaged, but also kind of educating them so that we know what we're watching, or I should say that folks know what they're watching for first timers or people who are novice NASCAR or race car watchers.
I mean, the first thing to pay attention to is that FAMU paint scheme this weekend. Once you start from there, you just follow that car around, and you'll be a fan after that. So if I mean the NASCAR 101 is just whoever wins wins the race like any other race, and it's all about the pit crews. If you notice, in NASCAR pit crews now, most of them are ex-athletes. Most come from HBCUs. Most come from ex-college, ex-basketball athletes. So if you walk down pit road at this time in the sport, you'll see more African Americans in the pit road than you'll see anywhere else. You'll be like, I didn't know this many black people was in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Besides the pit crew, I think one of the things that people should know, you've got not only do you have an experienced driver in Greg Biffle, you've got an experienced crew chief who's got some 300 races behind him. You're working with a quality car, quality engine, and so I think there's a lot of things that a lot of people need to be aware of going into this race. So how did Greg Biffle? How did you and Greg Biffle come together? Were you looking? Was he the veteran you were looking for? Or he just happened to be available. Talk a little bit about the relationship and how you came to bring Greg Biffle on board with you for your team.
So me and Greg have known each other for a couple of years, talking back and forth. I said when I get a certain program in order, especially with a Chevy manufactured team, which I am, will you be willing to drive? And once all that came together, he basically said, let's go. And from there, I mean, Greg never got the opportunity to actually retire. So this is his opportunity to go out, and race in the car that we're trying to make competitive. Right now, it's kind of hard to be competitive, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Kelvin.
So I have to ask for the fans about merchandise possibilities. Will models of this car, race jackets, and that kind of stuff, is that in the works? Anything? Because I know Rattler would die to buy this stuff.
Yeah, no, of course. That one of those diecast cars will be at homecoming. So that's the one you'll see. No, I'm working on the diecast stuff now. It'll look just like the car, and T-shirts. I work on that as well. I mean, I would have to speak to the school. I haven't spoken to anybody yet about the license stuff. Once that's done, I'll be able to print shirts and stuff.
And what's your expectations? Hold on 1 second. What's your expectations moving forward for for this season? What is the goal, and how far do you think you can go?
Just consistency. I mean, that's the only thing I'm looking for right now. Consistent, whether we consistent top 10 team, consistent 20th team. I just want consistency where we know we're at and we can build off going into the next year.
Kofi.
Yes, sir. So what other HBCUs can look forward to being showcased in the races, in the upcoming races? Now I know you're a Grambling, so are you gonna be petty and not put Southern in there, or how's
Oh
that
no,
gonna go?
I put anybody that was in the boot. I'm trying to figure out, like, right now we're just working through it. I don't really particularly know which ones is next. Um, it's through the Urban Edge Networks and HBCU League Pass. So between us two coming up with the next one, plus I just like to surprise people when it comes to,
Nice.
And I'll be honest with you, somebody took a picture of that car in my shop yesterday, which they were supposed to release it. The whole release is supposed to come out today. So half the pictures that's out there was somebody stole a picture and put it out.
Uh-oh.
Not that one. There's another one that don't have wheels on the car. It was supposed to be revealed a
Yeah,
certain way.
we
So
saw that.
I
Sorry
still
about that. You didn't take the
no, that's
picture.
fine.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no.
It
I'm
wasn't
still trying to
us.
figure out I'm still trying to figure out who snuck in the shop and took that picture and released it out, and it went viral. But the release is supposed to be today, but it went out yesterday. But it'll be the traditional and also the smaller HBCUs, like maybe like a Stillman, like we want to highlight them as well, like colleges that you traditionally don't hear as much as the Florida A&M, Grambling, Howard, Hampton. There's over 100 HBCUs that that we need to highlight at some time in some way. So
Nice.
that's my goal.
Mr. Cohen, how influential or how important has the NASCAR initiative to be more inclusive? How has that helped you in these past couple of seasons? To get to this level where you're at.
Well, I mean, even before that, the president, Steve Phelps, he always tried to help me with different meetings. And as things progressed in the country, of wanting more inclusion, uh, NASCAR took that stance too, got rid of the Confederate flag, tried to brought in Brandon Thompson, who actually went to HBCU, went to Clark Atlanta. He runs the diversity department. So from there, they just implemented things within the sport to make the sport better and more easier for fans of color to come.
All right, all right. But before we let you go, because I know you're busy, I know you got some NASCAR obligations. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your time playing for the legendary Eddie Robinson. I saw, or I think I heard that you were there on the field, on the team when he won his 400th win. Am I correct in
Correct.
that?
Yes, you're
So
correct.
tell us a little bit about that experience, that background of playing for Coach Rob Robinson, and how that helps you in managing your team and your success today.
Well, I mean, so Coach Rob, he was an extraordinary man and also a mentor. I mean, you're talking about a man who every morning took everybody's meal card that lived on campus, and he would take your meal card at like 6:30 in the morning, and you wouldn't get it back until after you went to your first breakfast. So if you didn't go to breakfast, you wouldn't get your meal card. You would eat all day. So his motto was, if you eat, you go to class. So it wasn't about football with him. It was about building black men in the community. And that's one thing I can tell about him. He was all about pride and having pride in yourself. If we lost a game, he would cry and say, "You guys didn't have enough pride to win a game for us." So he was a different coach.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let people know how. So the race is Sunday. Now I've seen two different things. Is it 3:30 Eastern or is it 12:30 Eastern on Sunday? Because I saw two different things in the last 24 hours.
So it's 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's 12:30 Pacific Time.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, that's on
Yeah.
Fox, March 6th, this Sunday. We're looking out for the 44 car. Of course, qualifying everything. I believe I saw the schedule is Saturday. Assuming that all goes well with qualification, we'll see your 44 car in the race on Sunday. Let people know how they can follow, where they can find you on social media, where they can support, how they can just be a part of this experience that is happening right now.
Okay, just to clarify, we already automatically in this race, so you'll see the
Okay.
FAMU car no matter what on Sunday at 3:30 your time. So
Okay.
and also to follow the team is NY Racing Team at Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and then me is John Cohen NY.
Okay. All right. All right. So that's already in Sunday, 3:30 Eastern on Fox, the Pennzoil 400 in Las Vegas. Rattler Nation will be watching. All HBCU fans will be watching. And we just want you to fit it. We just want the car to finish better than Grambling at Daytona. I mean, you know, we do that, and you can't tell Rattler Nation nothing. It's over. It's over.
Grambling
Hey,
got a
listen,
bad shake on Daytona, but we'll fix that.
that's all right. It's all right. Now, when you win, you know, when you win this weekend, you know, we just go ahead and stick with that color scheme all for the rest of the year, right, Mr. Cohen? You get that commitment from
I mean, if that's the case, yeah, that car will be at homecoming. We win, that car will be at homecoming, just like that.
There it is, exclusive right there.
Let's
We
go.
got it right there.
Yes.
It's done. It's done. All right. Hey, Mr. Cohen, thank you for your time this evening. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you in the 44 car. And we look
Appreciate
forward to
you guys.
talking with you later on, hopefully down the road.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, sir.
Bless you, man.
All right. That's good deal. Good stuff, guys. Hey, let's take a break. Come back, break down a few thoughts regarding that interview. We got plenty more to talk about coming up on the other side. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone. We'll be back right after these words.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
The Sweet and Smoky Salmon Rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your fam.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
The sweet and smoky salmon rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit GetVaccineAnswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
When times get dark, we can...
All right, welcome back to the O&G StrikeZone. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi. And again, we got to thank Mr. John Cohen of NY Racing. And again, you guys go out and let Mr. Cohen know you appreciate him taking some time out this evening to come on to O&G, talk to us. FAMU's the new decal, the new artwork for his car, which will be in the Pennzoil 400 this weekend in Las Vegas, the number 44 car. So you can go on Twitter and Instagram at NY Racing Team. You can also find on the website nyracingteam.com. And I'm not going to lie, he gave his personal Instagram. You guys might have to go rewind it to figure out what that was. I think it was like NY Racing. I'm not even going to try to guess it. But anyway, just let him know you appreciate him coming on and taking time because, again, I think what's interesting, guys, is, again, he along with Brad Doherty, Michael Jordan, minority owners in NASCAR. And I think, he's building a team. I mean, the thing about NASCAR, and I've had to, when you're a sports nerd, kind of like how I am a little bit, and you follow all sports, you kind of, a little bit of just enough of everything to kind of be dangerous. And so I've kind of paid attention to these NASCAR teams, and really it is just like any other team where, I mean, obviously you have your owners like Mr. Cohen, you have your drivers, you have your crew chief. He's got a veteran crew chief who's got over 300 races under his belt. And then there's the part of building. He talked about the number of cars. I think he said he's got like 2 or 3 cars in his garage where a lot of these big owners, Hendrick Motorsports, Childress Racing, people like that, they have like 6, 7 cars. So when there's an accident, I mean, you're able to go to the next car. Well, for I don't know, maybe a mid-tier owner or maybe not one of, I think, what is he called? A franchise organization, I think is what he called it. The term was when you're not one of those top organizations, having an accident can set you back a few races because you got to go into rebuilding that car, and that takes a lot of money. So, I know they're looking for sponsorships. I heard in another interview that, there's sponsorship opportunities. I'm sure if you've got several $100,000, you could get your decal on his race car. I'm sure, assuming if you're the right company. So I mean, there's lots of opportunities there. So it'll be interesting to see how it moves forward. But you heard it here first. If the 44 car wins, it's a brand new day because you're not gonna be able to tell Rattler Nation nothing. And if that car comes through with a win, it'll be fired in, right? It'll be fired. So again, that race is on Sunday, 3:30 Eastern time on Fox. That's 12:30 out in Las Vegas time. So that'll be good stuff. So we again appreciate John Cohen for joining us. All right, let's get into the what we call the Rattler Week in Review. A busy week, and I feel like we moved to that point, guys. I know it's March. I think the lead story is baseball. I think the lead story from the past weekend is FAMU baseball with a sweep over Grambling in the Ralph Garr, Bill Lucas HBCU Classic, which was sponsored by the Atlanta Braves. FAMU got a sweep. The second consecutive year, if I'm not mistaken, that FAMU got a sweep over Grambling. Didn't we sweep Grambling last year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Rattlers got a 7-3 victory on Friday, 7-5 on game one of the doubleheader on Saturday, and then 6-2 in game number two. We are now 5-3 going into today's game against Florida. That's actually on ESPN Plus right now. For those of you who might be watching that and kind of watching us as well, you shaking your head, Kofi. Yeah, it's not.
I'm not
too
watching
good.
that.
You know,
I'm not watching that.
5-3 record, all wins against SWAC opponents. We beaten. Let's see who we beaten. Prairie View. We beaten Southern. Took 3 against Grambling. Only losses to Alabama State, who I saw that they beat Samford today. Good start. Let's go around the horn, guys. Good day for the baseball program. Let's get our thoughts. Your thoughts on that, Kelvin, on the baseball weekend.
Well, you're always looking to see how you size up with your competition. We're in the SWAC officially now. We've got 6 games on our belt, and we won 5 of them. Southern and Alabama State are typically 2 of the better programs, and we split against them, and then also against Grambling we had the sweep. It looks like we are able to produce runs, and we're going to need that because right now, outside of a couple of games, I think every game we've given up more than 2 runs, and it's a combination of things, but it's early in the season, and the fact that we have a winning record is good. I just would like to see us. The next step will be for me winning some of these out of conference games and being a little bit more competitive in the midweek games. But I know again that our focus and how we strategize for the midweek games are a little different.
Mm-hmm. Kofi, your takes there.
Well, in a nutshell, man, I mean it's amazing to see how I want to say our Rattler spirit rises up when it's right around SWAC time. So I like the fact that we were successful on this past weekend, and it's a long season. So I want to see us just continue to get better. It's always good for the Orange and Green to win in the ATL. And it does that. I used to live up in Beaufort, so in that area over there in Lawrenceville, I remember when the stadium was built. Um, it's exciting to be a part of that whole flow, and I think just a little bit more community engagement. I think that'll be amazing. But I'm looking forward to how this team just performs for the rest of the year, and I'm excited for this baseball team and in the direction that we're headed. Man, I think we're gonna do some things.
Yeah, a few notes that I jotted down from the 3-game set. In game number 1, DJ Wilkinson, a right-handed pitcher, senior transfer, pitched 5 innings, struck out 9, only gave up 1 earned run. In total, I think we had 3 or 4 pitchers, but in total, we struck out 17 batters in total in that contest. Zedric Burnham, our leadoff center fielder, had 2 hits, 2 runs on 4 at bats. But remember this name because this young man had a big weekend. Grant Rowell. I hope I'm saying that last name correctly. He's a first baseman. Had in total over the weekend in 12 at bats, he had 7 hits, 4 runs, 4 RBI. His batting average is up to 471. He was just named the SWAC hitter of the week. Had a good, I mean, just every game he just came to the plate and did a great job, including had the game-winning 2 RBI single in game number 2. That was a game in which we actually trailed 5-3 going into the 6th inning. We got a 4-run bottom of the 6th inning off of hits by Rowell, and also another young man, second baseman Joseph Pirini, who over the weekend in 11 at bats, he had 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 RBIs, had a couple of triples as well. His batting average is up to 345, and he very well could have easily been the SWAC hitter of the week as well. So, I mean, those 2 guys are the 2 and the 4 hitters in that lineup. They're sort of what's the right terminology here? They're sort of in front and behind Hunter, who's the second team All SWAC outfielder. But a great job of hitting by those 2 guys in particular. But just good to see baseball team perform well over the weekend. And as I said, they're currently playing Florida, currently trailing 7-0 right now against Florida. But we understand how difficult those mid-season games are. On Friday, baseball is back in Tallahassee with a home match against a home series, I should say, against Ball State University from out of Indiana, Muncie, Indiana. So that's a 4 p.m. first pitch on Friday, 1 p.m. doubleheader on Saturday. And I guess they're playing 4, so that means they've got a doubleheader on Saturday starting at 1, and I'm assuming maybe 4 o'clock will be the second, and then they play on Sunday at 1 o'clock as well against Ball State. So it looks like that's a 4-game series against Ball State, and I think they're charging $5 admission, which is something that's new. We didn't talk about this last week, but Kofi, your thoughts on FAMU finally charging for baseball and softball games? Any thoughts?
I think it's good. I think that you're talking about generating revenue. Our athletic department needs revenue, and that's another way to generate it, to find it. And the business part of athletics is where we need to succeed in this next level, especially if we're looking to compete at a higher level. And it's a much better, I want to say, model going forward. I thought it was going to be maybe a year. I thought we were a year or 2 away, but I'm happy that A.D. Gaucher and his team pushed the initiative to get this done. And I want to see Rattler Nation really support, because it's definitely time. And this is a way for us to go to the next level as a department. And I'm looking forward to see what the results are.
Mm-hmm. Kelvin, the decision to do admission, was that ever something that was discussed, or during your time there in the athletic administration, was there any plans to do that previously? What's your thoughts just overall in general?
Every year it was discussed. In my opinion, it's long overdue. You have to have some infrastructure things in place, though. For instance, I think they were on the cash only this first softball game against Florida State. And I'm anticipating part of the reason for that was that you'll need the infrastructure in terms of Wi-Fi service, and for the scanners to be able to scan electronically and process credit payment, card payments and stuff. So I want to make. I hope that we'll work all that out and get that infrastructure in place, and also put together some kind of package in which you know you know whether it be a part of a booster package for the entire sports program or for each sport, however they work it out, so that you can just pay one time up front and have some kind of pass and be able to enjoy Rattler athletics. So that's the other part to it. But yes, it's long overdue, and yes, it's been discussed for years, and I'm glad to see it happen.
Definitely, I like that idea about being able to create a package. We see that kind of thing done at the high school level. It kind of makes sense to be able to do that thing at the college level, right? I mean, it's just seems like it's I know I'm sure a lot of boosters would rather be able to pay a lump sum that got you into a whole bunch of games, whether it be all your football games, all your basketball games, or at least a certain number of games, and so on and so forth. Where maybe you could pick four sports, and you get pay a certain cost. I would imagine, and I think you can do that with the conference schedule, like the conference schedule, so I would like to think in advance when which teams are going to be coming a year in advance. So I would think you'd be able to put something like that together. Go back for a second, Kelvin. I see J Mac had posted something here in on Twitter. Yeah, you no, not Twitter, but on YouTube, about our midweek strategy. Or not our, but Coach Shoop's midweek strategy here against Florida. And it's not the first time that we played Florida in the middle of the week. We played Florida for years, I think, or at least several years. Any
Pretty much every year.
difference? Yeah, almost every year. What's the idea? What do you think in terms of this contest against Florida? Is just another opportunity to get some other guys in? Your thoughts on that before we move forward.
So I don't want to give the impression that coach ain't trying to win. We want to win. Rattlers want to win all the time. But strategically, you got 3-4 games this weekend. You got X amount of pitchers that you can use, and so you're willing to take a little more risk and go a little farther in your depth chart during the midweek because you're only playing a team once. Whereas when you playing, a weekend series, you play them 3 or 4 times, and their lineup gets to see your pitching and how you calling them, how you playing your hitters, where your strengths and weaknesses are from day to day, can make adjustments. So, it just typically, you got X amount of really good pitchers, X amount of really good hitters, and also this early in the season, you do need to evaluate uh, because the beginning of the practice season is like mid January, and then you're into the season in February. So even though you senior team, you still have players. You don't know how they're gonna play under the spotlight. So you got to balance all those things, and so and you're playing really good competition in midweek games. Usually, the for us, usually we're playing top 25 or top 40, 50 programs during the midweek game.
All right. So again, baseball's at hosting Ball State this weekend. Again, 4-game series with the doubleheader on Saturday. And then for the Central Florida crowd, which includes me, which I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get down to this contest on March 9th. FAMU's traveling to UCF. So I'm hopeful that let me see, that's next Wednesday. So and then the following weekend they're at Stetson, also in Central Florida. So I'm curious, any Rattlers out there that went to the Gar Hurd the guard Lucas HBCU Classic. We'd love to hear your comments in the chat, or send us an email, O&G StrikeZone at gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about everything that into went into that that series. We'd love to hear from you, just the experience overall. I'm not sure. Do you know if that's something that we're committed to doing next year? Anybody heard anything on that? No. Okay.
No,
No, sir.
no.
All right. Let's jump before we go to a break. Let's jump over to softball real quick, because the Lady Rattlers played two on Saturday, two on Sunday up in Alabama, and they split 2 games against South Carolina State, 2 against Grambling. We lost the 2 on Saturday, 3-5 against South Carolina State, 1-3 against Grambling. So those were close games, and then we turned around on Sunday and took both of those contests, 6-3 against South Carolina State, 5-4 against Grambling. Then Tuesday, we hosted our home opener against Florida State. We got out to a 1-0 lead, which we got out to a lead the last time we played Florida State last week. Unfortunately, we lost 8-1. Did you end up going to that game, Kelvin? I know being it's the home opener. Did you happen to make that game?
No, I didn't make the game. But I know that we jumped out 1-0 in the first inning, and then just like with the previous game, Florida State in later innings strung together some hits, and they're number 3 in the nation. And realistically, they're probably the top team in the nation. They were national champion runner-up last year. So I mean, they have a really strong program, and the fact that we're competitive with them, and we actually playing them better than a lot of teams they're playing that are ranked, says the potential of this team, of our softball team. And I think Coach got something going. If we can be more consistent defensively and offense, you watch our team. I think if we get 4 runs per game, we're gonna win most games we play.
That's a good. That's a good. Yeah, you're probably right on that. Because we have been coming up just a little short of that number, and then we've been holding people to about 3 to 4. I mean, other than Florida State, obviously, and the nationally ranked teams, but the teams that are more within our within our box, so to speak, those are the teams we have tougher games against. Kofi, any thoughts on softball against Florida State, or the weekend series?
Well, it's all about the end game, and you can see that this team is definitely in process, and as we're competitive, and that's a good thing. But we got to make that transition from competitive to actually transitioning into some wins and some W's against our top teams. This schedule that the softball team is playing right now is just incredibly tough. I would be curious to see how it matches up nationally against other schedules around the country. But to have Florida State come in to play them twice within 2 weeks is a big plus. We see where we are, how we are competitive. But again, even when you're playing your Gramblings and your South Carolina States, we're seeing that our HBCUs are no pushovers either. So we got to come and bring our A game literally all the time, because people know that the FAMU softball team is solid, that they're good, they are spirited, they are spunky, and we want to see us going ahead and play at the very highest level. And I want to see these ladies bring home the SWAC title, man. I think it's time.
If you are in the Tampa Clearwater area this upcoming weekend, the Lady Rattlers are playing in a tournament over at USF. USF tournament this weekend. They've got 5 games, 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and then 1 on Sunday. Friday's contestants, they take on 1-7 Army. USF they take on Friday. USF is probably the better team of this group that they play. USF's record right now is 10-3. So that's the Friday schedule. Then on Saturday they play UIC, which is University of Illinois Chicago. Their record right now is 2-8. Then we play Army. So that's the Saturday schedule against UIC and then Army. And then on Sunday, they close out against USF. So with our record sitting at 3-12, just going off records, I would tend to think we're probably competitive there against Army and UIC. And then it'll be a matter to see how we do against USF. You know, can we, you know, how much better is USF than Florida State? Because I think it's a good setting, it's a good feeling that we played the number 3 team in the country to a relatively good ball games, and you're shaking your head. What are you shaking your head for, Kofi?
Well, I mean, every team is different. You know what I'm saying? Every matchup is different. And, playing sports and playing games is all about problem solving and eliminating your own personal mistakes. And if we can eliminate our mistakes, we're going to be competitive no matter who we play against. But, when you play against good teams, the mistakes you make, when they pile up, the other team makes you pay. And so the margin for error is very slim when you play against these teams. And, we just got to step up, I want to say mentally as we go into these games and be able to execute when it matters the most.
All right. Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. Very good point. So we'll see. We'll see what is ahead for the Lady Rattlers. But again, if you're in the Tampa, Florida area, we want to encourage you to get over to USF. The games on Friday begin at 11:30 in the morning, and then the second game is 4:30 in the afternoon. Saturday, 2 morning games, 9 o'clock and then 11:30, and then on Sunday, 11:30 against USF. So we want to get you over there and do the best you can to go support the Lady Rattlers. Okay, we're going to take a break, step away for a second, come back. We've got a lot to talk about. We still haven't got into basketball. We've got spring football schedules already out. The first practices have been underway. I think they might have even had practice number 2 today, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll talk a little bit about that schedule. SWAC basketball tournaments coming up. Marquise Bell and the NFL Combine is happening this week. And we've got some Bragg Stadium renovation news to discuss as well. So all of that and more coming up in the second hour of the O&G StrikeZone. We'll be back right after these words.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant-quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
The sweet and smoky salmon rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for mental health and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian, Kelvin, Kofi here. I want to thank everybody for watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure wherever you are watching us, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so that you can get some the future notifications when our show goes live. Please follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at O&G Strike Zone. And all of our shows will stream later on the BCSN Pod Zone, so you can always catch the show in a full pod format from there. So I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. Some good clarifications there as I'm just kind of reading J-Mac's comments. We were talking about our earlier interview. If you missed the first hour of our show, you missed our interview with John Cohen, the owner of NY Racing and the FAMU decal number 44 car that's driven by Greg Biffle that will be racing in the Pennzoil 400 this weekend in Las Vegas. That is a NASCAR race. And so any chances, anybody recall, where did the Grambling car finish? Where did the 44 car finish at the Daytona Beach? 34th. Okay. And I think there's like 43 cars that run in the Daytona 400. So, look, we just want to if we get a better finish than Grambling, we can already poke our chest out about that. But he's already declared, Mr. Cohen has already declared that if the 44 car wins this weekend, and nothing is impossible, as Kevin Garnett once told us, that look, the 44 car will be coming at homecoming. It will be. He might even keep that decal for the rest of the season. I don't know if he said that. He did say the car might make an appearance at homecoming, though. So, you guys, NY Racing on Twitter and Instagram, nyracingteam.com is the website. Make sure to go let Mr. Cohen know that you are behind the 44 car this weekend, and you appreciate him coming on the show earlier this week. And we will have one more. Look, it was a beat down on Grambling all weekend. So we will just have one more thing to brag about when when it comes to our little feud with Grambling right now. So we just owned them. We just, as I said, you can't spell Grambling without the what?
A&M.
A&M. Bam. Look, done. Okay. Speaking of Grambling, watch this transition. Guess who we whooped up on Saturday? Saturday in our Louisiana two-step, we took on Grambling and Southern. We beat Grambling for the second time this season with a 79-73 victory. That's an important win for the Rattler men's basketball team because it keeps us ahead of Grambling in the standings. And I think Grambling ended up losing to Bethune the next on Monday. We unfortunately came up a little bit short against Southern 58-51. Did either of you, Kelvin, Kofi, did you notice the headline that came out after the Southern loss? I'm talking the headline that came out from FAMU Athletics.
No.
Huh?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm being overly critical and sensitive because I'm just in that mood these days. But the headline made mention of a missing basket, a 2-point basket which wasn't counted. I hold on. I let me go find the email because I don't feel like I'm gonna do this story justice if I don't actually pull up the actual headline because it caught me off guard, and I was kind of like, why are we making a big deal about 2 points and an 8-9 point loss? So yeah, Rattlers fall to Southern 58-51 after stat correction. I'm reading the opening paragraph here. The men's basketball traveled to Baton Rouge for their regular season road finale versus Southern and lost 58-51 after 2 points were added to the Rattlers' final score after the game's conclusion. And then, the rest of the story kind of talks about how we actually got off to a good lead, 18-11 in the first half, then gave up a 20-6 run to I almost said Jacksonville, to Southern. And we were down 31-24 at the half. Southern opened the second half on an 11-7 run. They were down by 11. We actually came back, had a 10-0 run. And then it says the Rattlers responded with their own 10-0 run to make it what should have been a 1-point game, but only 8 points were added to the score as there was a mistake from the Southern book. So the Rattlers were down 3. Southern responded with their own 10-0 run to take a 13-point lead. So, in short, I'm reading the article and I'm thinking, did that 2 points, cutting the deficit, what would have been a 1-point deficit, but really it showed up as 3 when really it should have been 1. Did that really make the difference in the ball game?
The score, you play the score. It determines how you play, how you strategize. But when you're giving up a 10-0 run, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Like, that can't happen, especially when the game is tight, when the game is on the line. However, let me just say, playing in Baton Rouge is never easy. And it's it's never easy for a number of different reasons. And while they won't admit that they're a bunch of cheaters and lowlifes and stuff like that,
Wow.
they do have a tendency to try to win at all costs. So you have to have your A game. You have to have your eyes open when you go to Baton Rouge, because the little voodoo people that be doing all kind of stuff, and you be sitting up there and be like, what happened to the scope? You got to pay attention to what's going on. So I would have liked to have seen somebody at least call it to their attention a whole lot earlier. Um, because that, of course, does make a difference. So you need somebody that's going to be watching that in the future, just going forward.
Okay. I like I said, I just,
They
I
had just
thought if the
lost to
game,
Cookman. They lost to Grambling. I'm sure that they were feeling some kind of heat, and it was like, oh, Lord, we cannot lose to FAMU. So whatever we got to
Let,
do.
let me add a little bit to that, Kofi. So MJ Randolph fouled out that game. We only had 51 points total. We did have Jalen Spear, who's back, who would have been the starting these two guard at the beginning of the season. He's back, and I think he had double-digit points. But there was a lot of unusual things that game. At the end of the day, though, when we score only 51 points, we did the same thing twice against Alcorn. When we don't hit that 60-point plateau for the men's basketball team, we struggle. We generally, those are the games we lose. So now if we got Bethune coming up this Saturday, if we win that game, then I believe I was watching the coaches show today, which was the last one of the season, and I believe Coach Brown said that we will finish fourth on them in men's basketball. And either way, you got to win 3 games in 4 days. But so we take care of business, we'll finish fourth in our first season in men's basketball. So that's got to be the goal at this point.
yeah, I did the standings. So here's how the standings run. Right now, Alcorn is in first place by a half a game in the loss column over Texas Southern. So Alcorn has 2 games to make up. So the regular season ends Saturday for everybody, but there's some makeup games happening on Thursday. Alcorn is making up one of those games, right? Texas Southern 1 game left. Southern is right now in third, 1 full game behind Alcorn. They have 2 games to play Saturday or Thursday and Saturday. We are sitting in the 4 spot right now with a 10-7 record. We can't really catch Southern unless Southern drops 2 games. So we really can't move up to the 3 spot. And personally, I don't want us to, and I'll explain why in a minute. FAMU in the 4 spot. Grambling is 9-7. We have a half game lead on them in the win column. Grambling has 2 games to play. That'll come Thursday and then Saturday. So even if Grambling wins those 2 games, as Coach was saying, we win against Bethune, we're locked into the 4 seed. We're probably locked into the 4 seed anyway, even if something crazy were to happen and we did not take care of business against Bethune. We'll probably still be in the 4 spot, I think. Worst case, we'd probably fall to the 5. The hot team that you got to watch out for is Alabama A&M, though. That team, they have 2 games to play, one of the makeup games on Thursday. They have won 5 games in a row and are currently 9-7. Remember, 5 games in a row. I mean, at the halfway point, Alabama A&M was what? That's 2-7 at the halfway point of the season. So they've turned it on in the second half season, including a win against us. This is the team I worry about. The 5, 6, 7 Prairie View A&M sitting at the 7 spot. 8-9 overall with 1 game to play, I believe, against Texas Southern on Saturday. That's a team that I'm worried about. Jackson State is right now in 8th. They've got 2 games left to play. They're 7-9. Bethune's fighting for their lives. So this is how important this game is this weekend. Bethune, they're 7-10. A loss pretty much knocks them out. They can't get into the 8, pretty much. We got to take care of business. We slip up against Bethune. Bethune actually has an opportunity, I think, that they may sneak in as the number 8 seed into the tournament. Alabama State is half a game behind Bethune. So really, Bethune is kind of battling with Jackson State into that last spot. And, that's the worrisome part for FAMU. I mean, we've gone 3-5 in the last 8 games since that 7-game winning streak. And quite honestly, our record against Bethune is not very good. In the last 17 meetings, we're like 4-13 in the last 17 meetings. I mean, it's been a little better over the last four, but there was a streak there where we were losing to Bethune almost as many times as football team was losing to Bethune. So, we got to win this ball game
This is
this
a new season,
weekend.
man. What you talking about, man? This is a new season. I ain't got nothing to do with this season.
I know. A new season, look, and nobody played a year ago. So the last look, it was the 1920 season that we split the home and home with Bethune. So pretty much we're on pace to do that again this year in terms of splitting the home and home with them. That last game we lost 66-59. There again, your point, Kelvin. When we don't hit 60 points, it's a bad news for us. Um, Bethune's coming into the game. Marcus Garrett was the player of the week. He averaged 24 points a game versus Southern and Grambling over the weekend. So they come in with a hot player, and we got to hope that our guys are ready. It's also senior night. One of the confusing things, though, I don't know. You guys heard the interview. You mentioned it, Kelvin. We've got 4 seniors, 2 grad students, but everybody's got their COVID year. So it's a question of who's going to be presented. Does that really mean anything? I know MJ Randolph is scheduled to be presented, at least from what Coach was saying, but he's got a COVID year. Does MJ come back for another season? Do we, once he wins the SWAC Most Valuable Player, are we able to keep MJ? Are we, or does he look to do what other guys have done after they've graduated? Take their talents north, so to speak. I think that's something to watch out. What are your any thoughts there, Kofi, going into Bethune week here for the Rattlers?
Man, we got to pack the pit. This should be a record crowd. There's no excuses. This is the last home game, last game of the year. As our guys are trying to get some momentum going into the SWAC tournament, man, we got to turn up. So I'm looking forward to being at that game this weekend. And I'm challenging Rattler Nation to show up in big numbers. Let's get over at least 7,000 at least in the building. And I think that that's possible. But let's get there, man. Let's make that happen.
What's the max crowd that we've had this year? Have we hit 3,000 this season?
We've had 3,000 a couple of times, but we got to get to we got to get at least 6, 7, man.
5. We got to get over 5.
I was going to say, get over 5. Yeah. Get over 5. So the SWAC tournament is coming up the following week, March 9th through the 12th. Bartow Arena in Birmingham, Alabama, the Cricket Wireless SWAC tournament. I want to hear from Rattler Nation out there. Anybody making plans to go to Birmingham, Alabama? I mean, we could potentially be a 4 seed. Now, that doesn't mean we get an extra bye, but if we're the 4 seed, we potentially could be playing Grambling, who we've beaten twice, or Alabama A&M, who we split. We got a very good chance of getting to the semifinal, and I think we all believe that we are capable of winning the SWAC tournament. We're capable. So I don't think we've been. When's the last time you felt like FAMU has been capable of winning the men's basketball tournament? I gotta think it's been like the 90s, maybe.
No,
the like 2019. Last time we played, we had won 8 in a row at home. We were in the top 4 of the MEAC, and had we played that year, I firmly believe we was going to the championship game for sure.
You're talking about which year? The 1920 year?
The last year we played in the MEAC in which we were eligible.
The COVID short, the one that got caught. 2019. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Well, okay. All right. So I just want to know from you guys out there, Rattler Nation, let us know who's going to Birmingham. Anybody making plans to go to Birmingham? This is a good opportunity to go out and support. I've heard nice things about Bartow Arena, so on and so forth. So for the women are going to kind of end their season. It's been a difficult year for them. What do we want from what's the expectation after this season? I mean, let's talk reality.
This season was a freebie, okay, and
Okay.
we kind of all expected that one. It was going to be tough with her being first year, not a whole lot of experience, fielding a whole new team in a new conference. It was going to be difficult. We knew that going in, but going forward, you know, the expectations and the traditions of the Lady Rattler basketball team is big. We have a tradition and we have an expectation for our women's basketball team to win. You know, and that's been our history, that has been our tradition, and we expect nothing less. I mean, LaDawn Gibson for did I say it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For all that's said, in regards to her, I mean, she went through some incredible ordeals, and you know, but to her credit, we beat the University of Florida. We beat several Division I teams under her watch. Now, while she didn't come away with any conference championships, we were competitive against other Division I teams. And, you know, she recruited well, you know, and just with the level of trauma and drama that the university and the administration was going through, she had to deal with an awful lot. No excuses, but at the end of the day, come next year, we're expecting this team to at least double their victories and be competitive and at least finish in the top 5 in the SWAC, at least.
Double the victories. They got 3.
Gotta get 6.
I'm sorry. I don't mean
You
to
gotta
be
get
flip
6.
like that.
I mean, the bar is the bar is not high, bro. It's not very high.
No,
We
it's
know
not.
that we're building. We know that we're building, but at the same time, this is Florida, bro. We've got a ton. Because, you know, that was just a question that I used to ask our basketball coaches all the time. How hard is it to find 5 people that can ball out? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Between Florida High, Rickards High, Godby, Raines, Reebok.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me stop you, Kofi. Let me
Your
stop you.
Orlando schools.
This
How
roster,
hard is it to find 5?
It must be hard because this team only has 1 player on it from the state of Florida. This roster has 1 player from the state of Florida.
So I'm gonna speak exactly where you're going with that, Brian, because that's kind of my input. We have to have coaches who build relationships with the local coaches. We also don't forget our home to TCC, which is in the premier conference as far as JUCO goes, and every other year is competing for a JUCO championship. Of course, basketball in this area is quality, right? You got Florida High, as you mentioned, going to the
FAMU
championship.
High.
You got FAMU High, who perennially girls go to the championship. Florida High girls was really strong. Garvey Rickers, as Kofi say so. So I would like to see us do a better job of getting some, you know, the Florida Panhandle Conference, JUCO, and local players. We just got to make an imprint with that. And maybe that is building relations with coaches and maybe having someone on staff who has that kind of credibility. But also, this particular season for the girls team, you had COVID, you had injuries. It was a lot. It was a lot. The debt, so to speak, was kind of stacked. So, you know, I don't know how fair it is to try to judge this season, as we knew it was going to be a tough season, but we know what we need to do, right? We've seen the other competition. We know we have scores. We need to keep a team together, have some continuity, and we need to get size, man. We've got to get some athletic bigs. Bottom line, we need 3, 4 of them.
Yeah.
Start there for me.
You are.
I
Well,
said
look,
start there for
I
me.
see. I think you got to decide. I think what you're saying makes sense. There's a philosophy that has to be established. Do you want to be a national team, or do you want to be a team that whether you're going, I mean, not every local, I mean, as good as the talent appears to be at FAMU High and Florida High and some of the other schools that in the Big Bend or even in Jacksonville that seem to be having some success, how do they compare nationally? Because there are girls out there in Texas, in the Northeast, in the Midwest, who I mean, they might run circles around some of the talent that you see here locally. I go. I don't know what it looks like. You two are shaking your head. I don't know what it looks like nationally. I have been. Look, it's been a long
Bruh,
time since I have.
I have personally seen the freaking Reebok team for years, and for years they produce Division 1 talent at the highest level. Not only does FAMU have access to the Jacksonville region, but they also have access to Miami. But more importantly, South Georgia produces incredible athletes all of the
But
time.
see,
Cheryl
it's
Swoops
taking a time.
is from an area. I want to say several Olympians and Division 1 talent comes from South Georgia, bro. So for me, there's really not a whole lot of excuses when it comes to being able to recruit top level talent, especially with the pendulum swinging the way that it is towards HBCUs. Let's just get it done.
You don't have a national budget either, recruiting budget, right? So to be a factor, a real force, and get top talent nationally, then your budget got to match that. And frankly, we don't have that. So we get more bang for the buck, both in terms of scholarship dollars as well as talent and potentially ticket sales when we have local talent, man. That's just basketball 101. And at the end of the day, we've gone through the last 5, 6 years of 3, 4, 5 wins, man. We haven't been very good. So, and that's with not a lot of local players, not a lot of Florida players, a lot of JUCO, a lot of transfers, etc. So, I've seen that formula, and I think there's a more balanced formula. Let's put it that way. I'm not saying go all local and so forth, but you can't ignore it either.
No. Okay, so I
Local
do
and
think there
regional.
is something to be. Yes, I do think there is something to be said about if you were a coach that were sort of coming into this FAMU program, and let's go back for a second. And for example, LaDawn Gibson, when she came in, she had ties to the state of Florida, and I gotta imagine one of the main things was bringing in LaDawn Gibson is going to bring in somebody that can recruit the state because she knows the state players, she knows the coaches, and so on and so forth. I don't know what our rosters. I don't have a good sense of what our rosters look like in terms of percentages of Florida players versus non-Florida players. But I do think you have a coach now in Shalom Pillow who comes from a national program, Tennessee, has coached on a national level at the schools where she's been. And so her mindset of what she's seen outside of Florida is different than someone who has been in Florida. So, what is she going to try to bring in? She's going to bring in what she knows, which is talent from all over. And who knows? I don't know if that, I don't know how long that can work. And so, can you convince a coach like that to turn her focus towards bringing in more players from not only your local market but your regional market with the mindset that it's going, see, Is it going to win games? Is it going to draw people into the crowd, into the stadium? I don't know. But that's what I think that's the tough part. And it's not going to come in just one season. It's going to have to be 2-3 years before she gets comfortable with the talent in the state of Florida. You're shaking your head, Kofi. I'm just telling you, it's going to take her a couple years before she gets comfortable with the talent in this state.
She's gonna have to find her comfortability quicker, because even if you go back to the time with Coach Claudette Farmer, okay, she was successful because of what she was able to recruit from a local level, from the Quincy and Gadsden County area, okay, as well as the local area in Tallahassee and South Georgia. So that formula does work for what we're trying to do. And, if you want to win, I mean, you have to believe. I mean, we're sending kids. FAMU DRS sends kids to Division I programs all the time. So you can't sit there and just be prideful and say, okay, I don't need to connect with this person, or I don't need this person on my staff. Get the people that are winning. Get the people that have the local ties. Get the people that already have relationships, and work those relationships in your favor, because at the end of the day, at 3 years, if you're still at 3 wins, you're going to be gone. You got to find a way to get that done sooner or later. This year was a free one because we understood COVID, we understood we understood all that stuff. Get a lay of the land. People's eyes aren't necessarily on it, but next year, there's going to be more pressure for her to come out of the gate. And so what she's got to do is recruit. She's got to recruit, and she's got to recruit well. You got JUCO transfers. You got all kind of stuff. I know that's been the thing, of course, with the portal. But women's athletics, especially, again, in the state of Florida, especially in North Florida, there are a ton of athletes. All you need is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people that can ball. That's not a lot. Find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that can play.
Final word on the topic, Kelvin, before we go to break.
No final word. I think Coach is, I don't know that she's not, recruiting Florida. You made that assumption, Brian. Said she got to get comfortable. I just think she had so much other stuff she had to deal with prior to this season, and so once this season is over with, that's going to be her window of opportunity to make inroads on that, and I expect she'll make whatever adjustments necessary to be successful.
All right, well said. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk about the FAMU football spring practice. There's a question there from Dwayne Sweet. Kelvin, maybe you can help out about when season tickets might go on sale. And we got to talk about the new stadium renovations to the press box and suite area going on around Bragg Stadium. So come back, and we'll get into all that here as we come up on the final half hour of the show. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone. We'll be back in just a moment.
Follow the Black College Sports Network and all of our shows on YouTube. You can find us at MyJBN Online and on all social media at MyBCSN1.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Now, you can live in Texas and not have a good red meat blend. Texas Cowboy Dust is designed for steak and other red meats. It's out to be my most popular spice blend, made with onions, peppers, ground mushrooms, pink salt, and other spices. Texas Cowboy Dust also goes great with chicken, pork, vegetables, and adds a restaurant quality sheen to gravies and sauces.
It's like a loot machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Vanilla smoked sea salt seasoning is for seafood. The tarragon and fennel bring out the natural sweetness in seafood. I also use it in rice dishes, on yams, asparagus, blueberry pancakes, and believe it or not, chocolate chip cookies. Vanilla smoked sea salt adds a salty and savory component to sweet dishes that create a symphony for the tongue.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
The sweet and smoky salmon rub infuses smoked black pepper with dehydrated maple syrup, pink Himalayan salt, ginger, thyme, mustard, and more to make a sweet, savory rub, perfect for salmon, trout, and other delicate seafood.
Welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Brian Fulford, Kelvin Rozier, Kofi Hemingway. I want to thank you guys for being a part of our show, our experience. Want to remind you, if you missed our interview in the first half hour of the show with John Cohen of NY Racing, you can go back and watch that. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. The podcast version of it will be available on the BCSN Pod Zone sometime tonight, tomorrow. Just depends on how quickly I can get it put together. But that was real insightful. Of course, the NY Racing team is the 44 car that has the FAMU decals. Do we have that, Melody? Let's show the people one more time the decal and the artwork that's going on with that with the 44 car that is driven by Greg Biffle this weekend at the Pennzoil 400 in Las Vegas, March 6th. That's Sunday. The race will be 3:30 Eastern on Fox. That's 12:30 Pacific time. And I'll see. Give Mel. Don't worry about it. If we can't get to it, we will move forward here in the show. But again, you can go to our social media site at O&G StrikeZone. I know it's been tweeted out by FAMU Athletics and a few other places. So want to go take a look at that, but make sure to let them know. Let us know your thoughts. ONGStrikeZone at gmail.com. We talked about a lot of things today. Let us know what kind of interaction you have with NASCAR. What would you like to see from, will you be watching? Will you be watching? And there's some of the decal artwork right there. The Chevy Camaro, the number 44 car, part of the HBCU League Pass and Urban Edge Network. Inc. That's sort of the relationship. Of course, FAMU and Grambling, two programs that signed on deals. And the front of that car is sweet. Look at the fangs right there across the front. That's
my
nice,
car.
man. That's yeah.
That's my car. That's my car.
And this,
Man, that is just so hype, bro.
yeah, I
That
like the
is.
scales though. The background.
The fangs, bro.
It's a tougher design than the Grambling one. I'm sorry. Grambling thought they had
Yes.
something, but once again, we just outdone Grambling. And if anybody asks you, let them know you can't spell Grambling without the what?
A&M.
That's right. Yes, sir. So just let it be known. And as long as we finish 33rd or better, we will have helped the FAMU 44 would have done better than Grambling this weekend. So I mean, I know 34 is a 33 is a low bar, but look, if the 44 wins the race, it's on. I mean, Mr. Cohen's already said this car will be making a debut at homecoming. I don't, somehow, some way, and he may keep this decal. So we're going to continue to tell that. I don't know if that's true or not, but we'll continue to tell that till the day we die. And then, of course, when we win, it's going to be all look. Woo, anyway. Also, we talked a little bit about the Shalom Pillow and our FAMU women, and then anybody going out to Birmingham for the to follow the men's basketball program as we get ready for next week's SWAC tournament. Of course, BCU comes to Tallahassee. We need to pack the pit. Local community. If you guys watching, if you know some Rattlers, how about this? No, let's just go back. If you know some folk, if you know some folk who need something to do this weekend, get out of the malls, get off the couch, get in there, go to Tallahassee, drive down to the Lawson Center, take your family, maybe do a walk around FAMU, beautiful campus, all the good stuff, and let's go pack the pit. We need 5,000 plus. I mean, Bethune has a gymnasium that seats 400 people, and I think it's less than 400 people, and they had a packed house when they played us. I went to a game against Alcorn. It was pretty packed for 400 people. We got to have we have a 10,000 seat arena. We need half that place buzzing, packed. I don't care if the 100 shows or not. Hopefully they will be there. But even if they're not, we need folks to get to the Lawson Center, pack that place out, and go. Right? Kofi, any word on whether the 100 will be there or not?
They'll be there this Saturday.
All right, there we go. So see, I saved myself from being in trouble with that one. All right, let's transition over to some stadium news. This came to our attention via rattlernation.blogspot.com. I always like to work there, always unfiltered, no holds barred. But Bragg Stadium to get new press box as part of the West Stands renovations, and some of the this is considered phase 2A. As I pull up the graphic here, Bragg Stadium phase 2A. This was a image from the December BFF committee. There you can see pictures of what used to be that press box. That thing was old, man. That thing was shot. There was no Wi-Fi in the press box. Can you imagine trying to cover a game and there's no Wi-Fi. There's no Ethernet ports.
That's not true. Don't put that out there. That's not true.
I'm sorry. Okay. At least for me, during homecoming, there was no ports available. How about that?
It was limited.
So, what'd you say?
I said it was limited.
Go back. It was limited, yes. Okay. So, go back. So, what you can see are part of the planned renovations, which the press box in its old form, I guess, had stood there for about 68 years. or at least when they expanded in the early 80s. I'm reading a little bit from RattlerNation.blogspot. The old press box, which was last renovated and expanded in the early 80s, was demolished to make way for a new, more modern and spacious two-story version that will have room for expansion, add 4 private suites available for rental. The new box will be a modular steel press box like its predecessor. It will feature a larger athletic director suite because that's needed, the president's suite, right, and a visiting AD suite. It will have more restrooms. That's definitely needed. And updated technology equipment. That is really, really needed. To accommodate more guests, the president's box will extend on the so those are those 3 rows that you see in the middle of the screen. Those are those 3 rows there. So it'll kind of look out onto the field. So that way, Dr. Robinson can entertain guests and bring them out there onto that press box. The press box is part of the ongoing $8 million renovation of Bragg Stadium's west side to correct health and safety issues, and the $12 million renovation of the stadium, which began last year. Kelvin, your thoughts on the expansion and the diagram you saw?
Is overdue. It was needed. Of course, things are driven by budget and timelines in construction, and frankly, the budget is not where it needs to be to do what many folks will want to see, which is a bunch of suites and some other amenities. Uh, the budget is the budget, and the timeline is the timeline. So uh, it'll be an upgrade to what we have. It will be more modern, ADA compliant. It'll have better communications with a dedicated communication closets and so forth. So we'll and then the part you were talking about with the press with the president's box. What it is, it's going to take up like the first 3 rows of the stands, new stands, where you basically have a walkout, sit in the stand type deal that a lot of pro stadiums have. And then you saw options for expansion and a platform on both ends of that stadium that may fit the budget. If it doesn't fit the budget, it can be added at a later date. But that would be big. Think of, say, North End Zone, what it is now, maybe having some setup, along the press box area, similar to that for revenue generation, entertaining donors and VIPs and etc.
I want to say I read that it's going to be a 2-story box. So I mean, obviously you're going to have an area for with those suites, but then you're also going to have an area for the working press, which I would assume you're going to have the working media probably above those president and AD suites, if I'm guessing correctly, right?
It's gonna be split level. Which one to be on top and bottom? I've seen it both ways. Most of the time, I think I've seen the media box either at the same level when it was more than 2 levels of some of the suites, president suites and so forth, or below it. Um, but either way, yes, it's split level, and in one tier, one level will be operational type stuff, folks are working and so forth. The coaches box, you know, for home and visiting teams, the radio box for home and visiting teams. The media area, the comm room, where you're running the scoreboards and mics and sound systems and all that. So it's long overdue, man. It may not be as fancy as some would like, but it'll be a definite upgrade and greater functionality. Now, it won't help with the phone service though in the stadium. Uh, that's a whole different deal and a different kind of technology that going after. be invested with that.
I just hope it's a working. I just hope I hope they took into consideration all the working aspects. You mentioned the 2 radio booths for home and visitors, as well as you need your television production area. Your play. I'm just hoping all of that stuff has been configured and thought about as we talk about moving, because it would. I know some schools who have recently done renovations to their or building new stadiums and didn't take into consideration some of these things from a media or technological standpoint. And I'm just shaking my head at who put these things together. So yes, it's happened. It's happened. I'm not going to put these schools out there, but it's happened. Kofi, your any thoughts here on the expansion? The updates. Do you feel like we're getting enough updates on the progress of this? Because I see that all of this is scheduled to still be completed by September 9th in time for the first home game.
It'll be completed well in advance, way before September, provided we don't have any major weather delays or, something unusual to happen. But, you asked if am I satisfied? No, not
Okay,
fully,
loaded
but at
question.
the same, let me say this. I mean, I think that any progress that we've had, you want to celebrate the little victories, and this is definitely a little victory. And we want to take the time to at least acknowledge that. We are grateful for that. That being said, it's leadership's job to push it forward because it never should have gotten to this point where we went, almost 50 years without any renovations or any updates to the press box. I think that that's utterly ridiculous. I think that that says that there's a lack of attention to detail and what's really needed going forward. And, I think, again, this is the one thing that I've always said, it's leadership's job to communicate to the constituents about what the needs are. And currently, I'm not necessarily all that satisfied with the status quo of what's happening. I think that when you speak vision, when you talk vision, there's more of an opportunity for vision to actually come to pass. If you put it out there and give people an opportunity to invest in the vision, buy into the vision, agree with the vision, so that we can take the vision to the next level. People want to see stuff in writing. People want to see stuff really go to the next dimension and level because we're at a point where there's greater notoriety. I want to say a greater attention that is on our SWAC schools. So what we do with our facilities really does matter, and our ability to host and not just host people, but be able to also generate additional revenue that is sorely needed for not just the athletic department, but also the school in general. So I'm happy with what we have. But I want to see us push forward to the next level and dimension because there's room for more.
Very quickly here, I would hope that I don't know. I don't know what type of naming rights they're going to try to establish, or maybe they'll try to get some sort of name sponsorship on the boxes and things. But I would hope that the new media press box, is named the Alvin Hollins press row, or something to that effect. I think as a longtime SID, and I don't want to step on any toes of any other previous people that did a great job, such as Roosevelt Wilson. I know who was, I believe, Alvin's
AD.
predecessor, but I think Alvin was there for like 30 years, and I think he revolutionized a lot of things in this modern era that people are still doing. And so I want to make that push. I don't know. There might be some other names out there, but I hope Alvin's name is in consideration for being named, or his name gets mentioned somehow as that press row is named in honor of him somehow, some way. Okay, some of the names that are coming in town this weekend. Marcus Green sent us some names. Big recruiting weekend. Obviously, spring practice has already started for the football program. We've got some names that are popping into Tallahassee. Let me see if I can pull up. Where's my notes from him? One of the big names that FAMU received or that FAMU offered us opportunity to was Jonathan Ross. The 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 accolades go deep for Jonathan Ross. Bowie State three-time Defensive Player of the Year in the CIAA, an All-American Division II first team AP All-American, Defensive Player of the Year. He's transferring from Bowie State. I don't know. I have not been able to figure out if he graduated or whether this is his last year and he just said, look, I've done all about all I can do at Bowie State, and I just want to test the waters my final year on the next level. But I know several HBCUs have offered, including now FAMU has offered. I think that's going to be a very interesting decision for Mr. Ross because he's got a lot of opportunities. It'd be great to have Ross on one side and Isaiah Land on the other. I think that would be an awesome defensive front. And look, he's played, as I said, he's played for a national champion at the Division II level. Come play for a national champion at the FCS level. You know what I'm saying? I think that'd be a great fit. I know his defensive coordinator at Bowie just got hired at Alabama State. So I think that kind of puts them in the hunt. I know I know some other HBCUs I think everybody in the SWAC except that school from Mississippi that y'all like to talk about a lot. I don't think they've offered him. I haven't seen anything from him, but maybe it's because they got so much talent over there that may not have a room for Jonathan Ross. But anyway, I think that's one of the things that you got to keep your eye on. Some of the other names that FAMU offered this week, wide receiver DeQuavius Story, a 6'2" wide receiver from Shipley High School in Graceville. He was voted the 2021 Florida High School Football.com Class 1A All-State Football second team. They lost in the state semifinals to the team that was the state runner-up. But, he got an offer this past week from FAMU. I'm not sure if is he 22 or 23? I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. We don't know. Another name that looks like recently received an offer, tight end Randy Pittman, 6'3", 225, from Mosley High School in Lynn Haven, Florida. He was Florida High School Football.com 6A All-State first team on offense. He was the 2021 Panama City News Herald All-County Football Team first team.
Mosley.
And Mosley, excuse me. Thank you. I'm not from these parts, so for me, I see when I say Mosley.
Thought I helped you, Mosley.
Thank you. They get my southern drawl, Mosley. Thank you, Mosley. So Randy Pittman was recently offered, and again, Marcus, I know you're out there. Is he 22 or 23? You got to jump in. Tell us. Or maybe Marcus, is he asleep? What is he? Tell us. 22 or 23, Marcus. Tell us. I don't see whether these guys are 22 or 23. Also, looks like some visitors that'll be coming to FAMU this weekend. Tristan Sion will be coming in. Looks like an offensive player. He'll be coming in this weekend. Davion Harley will also be coming in this weekend. And then Raekwon Smith will be. So those are three names that will be coming in this weekend for their visits, and they'll get a chance to see practice. We've got that practice schedule. We've also got that'll be practice number 3 and 4 going on this weekend as spring football has taken place. There you can see the schedule right there. Practice number 1 started on Saturday. They just had practice number 2 today. And so this weekend You'll get practice number 3 and 4. I like the spacing of the schedule there. Concludes with the orange and green game on April 9th. Kelvin, any thoughts there about the spring schedules, any of these recruits, anything you want to share or add?
Just that, coach is doing a masterful job. Number one, with offers. Most of the kids you're talking about are at least 3 stars, but he's got a lot of 4-star offers out there. So he's shooting his shot, as folks say, to top caliber talent. Number one, you see a long break in the mid March because spring break. I think March 14th to 18th is spring break, so there's no practices right before and right after that. Um, and um, and to have the Bethune game backdrop for these recruits that coming in, as well as seeing the renovations going at stadium, because that's where all the practices will be held in the spring inside the stadium. I just think it's set up to leave a very positive impression on the progressiveness, the environment, and then of course we were a winning program with great caliber coaches who have good character and so forth. So I like what they're doing, and I think they're going to be successful going into the recruiting season for next year.
Kofi, what would you like to add?
I'm really excited. Just football season just really is what drives the whole narrative. Really um, most of your schools in the South, but especially at FAMU. So anytime we get the opportunity to talk football, look at football, think about football, it's a big deal. And Coach Simmons and those are doing a phenomenal job of recruiting, as Brother Kelvin has already put out there. But this is going to be a huge year that could catapult us to our next level. There's been, I want to say, an adequate amount of progression from Coach Simmons and his staff every single year. And I think the addition of the running game that we had last year, as they add additional nuances to it, is going to be one of the things that helps to open up the offense even more. Obviously, looking at that QB race to see what's going on, and I'm just interested, man. There's a plethora of activity that's just going on within the portal. I know that we are 6 and 7 deep at the quarterback slot, but there's so much more that's going on. It's like every time you look up, there's somebody else in the portal. It's like, I don't know, we might want to take a look at that one. Like the young man over there at Arizona State that's in the portal, the quarterback there. You have the kid from University of West Florida that's familiar with our roster, who played for a national championship, won a national championship at the Division II level, who is also in the portal. Um, any chance that you have to get better, you owe it to yourself to at least look at it and see whether or not it could possibly be a good fit or possibly even upgrade the roster that you currently have. I remember Curtis Pulley coming in midway through summer camp, and he was without question the most talented guy that we had on the team. But by week 3, he was clearly the person that should have been starting and running the offense the entire time. Instead of that split action that they were trying to do because they didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But I would have been like, sir, you go sit on the bench. Curtis Pulley is our starter at the end. It's that simple. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, and it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Simmons and the staff close out this football season after this, during the spring, and then after the spring with any additions that they add to the football team. In the words of
Well
Joe
said.
Bullard, it's not over.
It's not over. It's not over. Well said. So we'll continue to follow on. So again, make sure on social media that you let these incoming recruits know that they need to come. Go ahead and make sure to let Jonathan Ross know in particular. Let him know that make the right decision and come to FAM.
Please follow Jonathan Ross. We got to get on that one. We got to
Yeah,
get that one.
yes, y'all need to make sure you follow him, and then hit him up. Let me see what's his. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, he's got one of these long Twitter handles. I'm not even going to try to say it all, but just type Jonathan Ross, and it's like AJ Rose.
Jonathan Ross, Bowie State.
Like, yeah, just type in Jonathan Ross Bowie State, and you'll see it. It's like several Z's and A. Anyway, but you'll see it out there. What else did I want to get to? Oh, this upcoming week, put the graphic up, producer Mel. And this week, busy week for Rattler Nation. As you can see the schedule, FAMU Athletics put the schedule out. Man, what a weekend. We've got bowling. We've got the HBCU Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, as we mentioned, softball is over in Tampa. Baseball has a 4-game series at home against Ball State. Tennis will also be up in Atlanta this weekend, taking on Georgia State. And then, of course, we've got the games right there against Bethune-Cookman on Saturday. Man, it's another busy weekend. Our golf, you know what? I don't even think, do we have any updates from the SWAC invite, guys, for our golf team?
No.
All right, so maybe by next show we'll have that. And all right, what are we missing as we get ready to wrap up? Kofi, what are we missing? Anything you want to add, or as we conclude today's show?
Yeah, there's a lot of hot topics out there in HBCU land that we didn't have an opportunity to necessarily cover. Obviously, we couldn't necessarily, my heart goes out to Grambling. Not that I'm, wanting to be super successful, but the whole Art Browse thing was really taking over the news waves. And, just for me, I get both sides of it. I really wish that Art Browse would have been able to stay. I think it was admirable of him to just go on ahead and resign because it was becoming bigger than Grambling. I think that Grambling could handle. Anytime you get major sponsors and other people that are getting behind this whole Me Too movement and why this man shouldn't, it gets so political. And I think that is so unfair that other people have an opportunity to just shut another man's life down. I don't want to say necessarily undeservedly, but at the same time, I think Art Browse could have spoken to his issue a little bit more pointedly with a little bit more humility. And I think that might have turned people if he had owned the situation a little bit more. But I'm just disappointed that, you don't get to pick who you get to restore or who gets restored. And I think that's very hurtful in terms of how strong the media is in terms of having a voice and having connections. And once people get that bowling ball rolls against you, it is very tough to get it. There's nothing better than a good name. And the other thing is that we have to keep a watch out is the SWAC is looking into, I'm hearing through very credible sources, looking into reaching out. They've already reached out to Tennessee State and looking to possibly add Clark Atlanta University to the SWAC. I think that now while I kind of look side-eyed looking like this at Clark Atlanta like this, I don't know, not necessarily they're going to fit. I get the desire to go into the Atlanta market and to corner that whole big media market. But there's a lot of growing that has to take place on the Clark Atlanta end. I think Atlanta definitely is there for the taking. But if you have vision and you have buy-in, it is definitely possible. That would give FAMU a game in the ATL at least every other year. And I think that's admirable to see, this vision actually come to pass. I would have thought that Albany State or Tuskegee would have been a better fit, but hey, who am I? So we shall see what happens. But the addition of Tennessee State, should they choose to accept the mission and the possibility of joining the SWAC, I think that would be an incredible addition. And I think it would shift, you'd have all the blue bloods, really, with the exception of South Carolina State, in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. And I think it's a big deal.
Kelvin, what do you got as we close?
Only thing I wanted to mention was FAMU Athletics put out a partnership that they have with INFLCR about Rattler's local exchange, a way to do the NIL deal where you can direct folks who want to sponsor sponsorships with our student athletes. I want to see a little more detail with this deal and the execution of it. But it's a step in the right direction in terms of another offering, another tool in the toolbox, so to speak, for our student athletes.
Yeah, the company you're talking about, I guess their initials pronounce the word influencer, which I didn't know until I went to their website, inflcr.com, pronounced influencer. That local exchange is something that came out in late November, early December, and it actually is this platform. Look, here's what I'll say. I think it's great that we are once again claiming to be the first HBCU, but if we don't show people how to use it, what does it mean? Like, so again, the, the app, the idea is it's supposed to put local businesses with athletes. So it's supposed to be that instead of trying to find maybe, I was going to say something. I'm not. You will have better luck reaching a student athlete via influencer than I do. I'm just going to stop there. So I think this is a great opportunity for businesses, local businesses, collectives, individuals. I'm reading from their site where it'll also give student athletes the ability to sort of it sounds like it's a marketplace. It's an opportunity. It's a marketplace for both parties, for businesses to reach athletes and for athletes to put their services out there and to be available. So I would like to see how it works. Maybe we'll reach out to influencer president Jim Cavale and see if we can get Jim on to tell us a little bit more about how this influencer product works. Maybe that's that. Maybe I'll spend the week doing that. So anything's possible. All right, folks, you got a lot to watch this weekend. You got a lot to do. Our main priority: get behind that NY Racing number 44 car. Let's get him some good spirits and mojos and prayers, and let's see that car come home. Because I'm telling you, if that car wins, it's over. It's all she wrote, and they'll never be able to tell us anything ever again in the SWAC.
We finished top 5 is gonna be over. Top 10, top 20 is still gonna be over.
See what happened when you put on the Rattler?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it'll be like. That's what
Yes, sir.
Why would you go
I'm gonna do
it? Why would you go anywhere? Why would you go anywhere else? So, I can't think that anything that we missed. You guys out there watching have been great. Let us know. Reach out to us on social media. Reach out to us on our email, O&G StrikeZone @gmail.com. Follow us and let us know via Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at O&G StrikeZone. And again, want to encourage you to go back and listen to the first segment with John Cohen of NY Racing. And let's all be well to each other. Let's be safe, and let's continue to spread some love, not a virus. And that's about all I got. So for my guys, if you're gonna be in Tallahassee this weekend or in the area, you need to get to the pit on Saturday. senior night. Make sure to show some love to our women's basketball team whose season comes to an end on Saturday. And then the last home game for the men against Bethune. Let's beat the Wildcats. Let's go 2-0 on Saturday, Rattlers. Let's go 2-0. Let's win as many games as possible. And let's get behind our sport. So that's going to do it for Kofi Hemingway, Kelvin Rozier, our producer, Melody Lucas. My name's Brian Fulford. Rattler Nation, be good to one another and make sure you guys strike, and strike again. All right, guys.
Blue Red, throw them up.